Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Arena Aftershow, a Star Wars Hunters podcast between myself and Sammy Boy Star Wars. And yes, he is alive. I have found him. He's doing well. Sammy, good to see you. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm glad someone found me and pulled me out. I was MIA for a little bit there. Had my allegiance changed over to Marvel Rivals for a little while, making some content over there. But after a little bit of a break, I haven't really full on had a break yet, but like I've considered it a bit of a break from the game. I'm definitely keen to sort of get back into it. I think I said it in a video that's not out yet, but it will be up at some point. That it was almost a little midlife crisis for my Star Wars channel where I was just like, do I actually keep making Star Wars content? Do I branch out and do something new in it? Yeah, so it's a bit of a strange period for the Star Wars channel, but yeah, I'm very keen to come back. And I think honestly the season 5 stuff and like seeing how much you in the community were enjoying the game, and then obviously I tried it out myself and have played a bit. It's sort of brought me back, just almost like FOMO. I guess everyone's having fun and everyone's really hyped about it, and it makes me go like, oh, I'm kind of missing out on that. So yeah, no, it's good to be back.
Yeah, well, welcome back. I know I've had a few people myself ask if, where are you and what you're doing. So it's nice to have an answer for that for you guys. So today we're going to be talking a bit about Season 5. Obviously, there's been quite a lot of stuff in that regarding Coruscant, the new map, Glicken, the new hunter, PvE, the brand new mode, as well as mods, and then also touching at the end on the PC release of the game, because we still are yet to find out as to when that's going to be. But jumping straight into Season 5, Sammy just mentioned the fact that he saw us enjoying it so much, and I think, for me, Coruscant is probably the best map addition to the game for a number of reasons. Glicken is a huge amount of fun and probably the most enjoyable hunter I've sort of played with at the beginning of a season. And then PvE, actually, I've enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I would. I saw a lot of people not enjoying it too much initially, so I was a little bit tentative when I first saw those reactions, but I've enjoyed it quite a lot, and it kind of takes me back to the Battlefront 2 days. But before I go into my thoughts a little bit more, Sammy, what are your overall thoughts on Coruscant? Let's start there.
Yeah, I really like it. It definitely, the first couple games, I was a bit, just because there's so many ledges and stuff, I was a bit like unsure of where I need to be, what I need to be doing, because it just felt a bit hard to navigate initially. But I think now that I'm used to it, I have to agree with you. I don't know if I'd say it's my absolute favorite, but it's definitely my top, 2 or 3 favorite maps in the game. And I think it's one of those maps that the more you play it and learn the ins and outs of it, it's one of those maps that like map knowledge really does matter. There's a lot of maps
100%.
in any game really where it's just a bit more open and like straightforward, and there's no real map knowledge needed. But I think in Coruscant Underworld, it's like the people who really, I guess, plan out their attacks and know where to come from and all that sort of thing, I think they're going to benefit a lot on that map, just because there's so many ways to approach it, and like the zip lines, and there's a lot of like little, not hidden areas, but like say that central sort of platform, I feel like there's honestly like 5, 6, 7 different ways to actually get there. So if there's a team defending the point or whatever, you can kind of come from any different direction. And yeah, I just think it's got a lot of almost like a high skill curve map, which sounds kind of weird, but yeah, that's the way that I sort of see it anyway.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I never really thought about it in that way of like a high skill curve before. That's quite interesting, because normally it's like characters and weapons that have those kind of curves,
exactly.
But yeah, I fully agree with you on that. Like, map knowledge is so important, because I mean, the first week of playing this map, I fell off probably every game several times. It was absolutely insane. But I've been playing it recently, and I think I've maybe fallen off once or twice, and at least one of those times was because I got pushed off. So yeah, like, I've learned the map inside out now, and so I know sort of where I probably should position myself, where I shouldn't. Obviously you make mistakes here and there, but it's just so important. And I remember seeing a lot of complaints about Coruscant when it first dropped. Loads of people saying, oh, I'm falling off so much, this is the worst map ever designed. And it's like, well, no, it's not. If you learn the map and essentially get good, then you'll be fine. You'll probably enjoy it a lot more. And I think that's one of the things that I like so much about it is it has actually been a genuine challenge over something like Dune's the Outpost that has nowhere you can fall off, and it's just a case of knowing where to go with that map. So it definitely takes some learning.
From Battlefront 2, like the Heroes map, where there's so many edges, and like a lot of people didn't like that map, but it was kind of one of those ones that if you're smart about it, and especially it also depends on who you're playing as. Like anyone with a knockback ability obviously has a bit of an advantage, but like it just it's like I just like when there's maps like that have a bit of personality to them, where like this is the map that you get knocked off. It's also a little bit the same with Vader's Castle obviously, but like that's got a lot more areas where you can't be knocked off. I feel like on Coruscant it's like almost from freaking anywhere on the map you can be knocked off, or at least be close somewhere to an edge.
Yeah, 100%.
And I kind of like that. If every map in the game was like that, it'd be annoying, because it's like, okay, we don't want all of them to be like that. But when there's just one map that kind of has that element to it, it's almost the same as like Vespara Row is really small. That's its personality. Like that's what that map has that all the other maps don't. And for this map, it's just it's got that sort of different edge to it, which I like. And sometimes for sure there'll be games where I get knocked off like 5 times and it'll be annoying and it makes me go, oh man, I kind of hate this map. But I think for the most part it's very well designed, and I think once you learn it, it's definitely
a lot more enjoyable at that point.
Because like you said, the first couple of sessions I was a bit like, what the hell, like I'm just dying all the time. But once you get used to it, I think it's completely fine. Yeah,
absolutely. And I just think pretty much every season the maps have always been such a standout piece of content. Like, yes, okay, they've been one of the main pieces of content each season, but they've actually been like really solid. I always enjoyed like Endor Aftermath, Hoth Frontline, Vader's Castle. Vespara Row, like less so I would say, but I do enjoy it, and it is very different. Like it's so CQC compared to any other map in the game. So yeah, they've always done a great job, and I feel like with Coruscant Underworld for me, it just like took another step up. And if they can keep on matching that every single season, then it's just like crazy to me, honestly. Another thing that I love about the map is the amount of Easter eggs in it. There is Easter eggs in every map, but Coruscant Underworld has got some really cool ones. There's like a 501st Clone Trooper like piece of graffiti. There's a Palpatine one that I think it says like Palpatine is behind it all, or
I haven't seen that.
Something like that, which is quite cool. Loads of different alien species, like a Deveronian, a Biff, like Dexter is got like a hologram in there, and like his wife droid is like in a logo or something, I think, somewhere as well. Like there's just so much going on, and I think actually I've seen a lot of debate around this as well, in that the map doesn't feel like it's on Vespara. The article that Zynga released about it kind of makes it sound like it is. But if you're on the map and you look out, like, yes, you can see some crowds, but like there's no LED walls, or like, it's not a dome. It doesn't look like that at all. It looks fully within the Coruscant Underworld, which I just think is really cool. And it's almost a bit like, Hunters of the Outer Rim on tour in a way, which I think is really cool. I think if they can do more maps like that, that would be something they can really dive into.
That is actually a great idea. I'd never thought of that they could. I know the whole lore of the game is like all of this takes place on Vespara, but like similar to, if we consider this the WWE of Star Wars, like the WWE do go to other places. They usually it takes place in certain cities in America, but there's times when they come to Australia or they go to England or whatever, and like that is cool that they could go to actual Coruscant, where in the underworld they've built a little arena for this stuff, and this is them touring and going there. That's actually an awesome idea that I never thought of, because I never actually considered that I knew it felt different. I knew something about this map felt very different than the rest, and that's it. I think that you can't actually really tell you're in the arena. It actually just straight up feels like you're kind of in, like, on Coruscant, whereas the rest of the maps you can very clearly, maybe the exception for me is probably, I think, Hoth Frontlines, maybe, where I feel that does kind of feel like it's part of Hoth, but even then you can see the big like LED screen things with the walkers on them and stuff. So
Vader's Castle is another one like that as well, where you feel very immersed in there. I think like pretty much all of the maps, like they do such a great job in making you feel like they're in that planet, but it's so easy to see up and out of that. Whereas,
Yeah.
with Coruscant, like you look up, you're in the underworld like dome, and I've seen people use the dome as a like an excuse as to why it's still on Vespara, but like no dome is that big. Like you've got like hover cars, speeders, going from one end and going past the map and beyond, and not stopping, not like resetting, none of that stuff. Like if they weren't on Coruscant, that would not be happening. So yeah, I just think that's really cool. Like they've done a really good job with that, I think, and it definitely leads to a lot of potential for more maps like it in the future.
Yeah, I never even thought about that would be such an awesome idea to have, like, hunters on tour. That's such a great idea, because then that's an excuse for them to make some of the maps even more immersive than I feel like they already are. They already do feel, all the Tatooine maps, that they're not on Tatooine, but they feel like it. Like they're very well crafted, I guess.
Yeah.
But having them even more where it's like there is no LED screens anymore. It's actually like we're looking out onto that planet because they've put an arena on freaking Hoth or whatever. Like that'd be pretty cool to see. So and like there's cool lore that they can do with that too. Like that can extend the actual lore of the game and stuff, which I know most people probably don't care about too much, but I know for like you and me, that's something we've always enjoyed, is the actual lore and
100%.
the backstory to all of this stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've always loved the story as a very keen Star Wars fan, as some of you might be aware already. I just think having that as a potential backstory, like they could go to Now Hutta and you could have loads of huts like in the crowd or like overhead on some hut ship, and I just think that's really interesting. Like the Hutt twins in the Book of Boba Fett, like it would be quite cool if you go to Now Hutta and like you see them in the crowd and they're watching. Or something like that, like there's a lot of potential for storytelling in this, and I think multiplayer games that tell a story are the ones that are the most engaging nowadays.
They definitely stand out, I think.
Yeah, because I think like Fortnite was one of the first ones that I ever played that did something like that, and like that kept me hooked for such a long time because I was actually interested in the story and what was going on. And I think if hunters can keep on doing that and create more content outside of the game that covers that would be really cool.
Yeah, 100%. I'm always for the lore side of it, because it doesn't really affect the game too much itself in terms of gameplay and that. So like it's just a cool touch that, I don't know, like you said, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I like the little bits of lore and nerdy stuff to just nerd out over. I just enjoy that sort of thing. So, and I know a lot of people do as well. It's not just us that like that. I'd say 90+% of the play base don't care, but there's still that 10% that like
Love it.
You do stuff like that, and it just kind of makes, I feel like it makes me appreciate games more when there's a bit of lore to it and stuff. Like even just in this game already before launch, all of the sort of lore, even just like J3DI, most people just would see him and think like that's a droid who is a Jedi, because like you don't put it together, but like we obviously know you can't be a Jedi if you're a droid. So for those who like really pay attention to the lore, it's cool to know that like he's been programmed that way and he was built by Sprocket, and like those little things make me know that they actually put love into the game. Yeah, I think it just makes, I don't know, it just makes me feel a bit more attached to the game when I know that the devs actually care. They're actually doing stuff that is literally just appeasing to people like us that are the minority at the end of the day, but they're still doing stuff that makes us go, damn, that's awesome. Like I don't know, I just really enjoy that kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. And on the topic of backstory then, I suppose, Coruscant Underworld is where the newest hunter into the game, Glicken, grew up. Now Glicken is a Kubaz who was an orphan, and the owners of this orphanage essentially got him to do jobs for him, steal stuff and this, that, and the other because of his unique abilities. Glicken, for me, I think I said at the early on that he's probably one of my favourite additions to the game so far in terms of hunters. I've had so much fun with him, and he was probably the most excited I've been for a hunter like pre-season launch, I would say. I've had so much fun with Aaron, Chaos, Pillbush, and Nox, but Glicken I actually got so hyped for, and I don't know if that's because we don't really see Kubaz very often, but I was so excited to play as him, and then he released and he's just so much fun, like his invisibility ability is really unique in the game as well. I don't personally feel like it's overpowered either. I know a lot of people were concerned about that, but yeah, he's just been so enjoyable. And yes, okay, we didn't need another damage hunter. That's 3 in a row now, but he has just been so much fun, and I think a lot of people agree with that. And yeah, what are your thoughts on Glicken?
Yeah, I pretty much echo all of that. He's I like that he's just so unique and just feels very, very different than the rest of them, even though there are some, I guess characters like Reeve are maybe more in line with him, a bit faster and more of like a glass cannon type, but obviously still very different. She uses the Force and a lightsaber, like he's not doing that, and he can go invisible. There's still big differences there. I really like that sort of quick playstyle that in most games, especially when it comes to like hero shooters and stuff, that is generally the type of character that I lean towards, is the really quick, annoying characters. It's like, I don't know what draws me to that. Maybe it's just because I am freaking annoying in real life. I'm not sure, but like
my head's spinning.
Yeah, like remember back in the Battlefront days, like I was always like a Boba Fett main, and he was like that really like kind of high skill curve character where he was kind of hard to get the hang of, but when you do, he was really, really good, and he was also just so annoying. Like I know when there was a Boba on the other team who was really good, it would annoy me so much, but I also appreciated it because I'm like, I know how hard it is to get good at those characters.
Yeah.
And I feel like Glicken is pretty in line with that, where I do think he's got a bit of there is a bit of a skill gap there. It's like you can't just sort of pick him up and just instantly be good, because he's so like weak. Like you die if you just try and charge at someone, like they're going to probably kill you. You have to really think about the way that you approach them, and yeah, like it just forces you to play differently, which I enjoy, because I think that's what the game needs when it's a game like this, a hero shooter. You need all of them to feel unique, and to be fair, they all kind of do. It's not like we were in desperate need of someone like that, because they all feel unique already. But I think that's also part of it, that they already are very unique, and yet they're still adding hunters that it kind of blows us away every time we get a new one, and we're like, oh damn, they're like so different than the others, even though we say that like every season. So yeah, I really like him so far. I'm still a bit in that learning phase where I think I've gotten a lot better with him. I think I can get better still, which is exciting. It makes me, that's something that's important to me, is knowing like with a hunter you can continue to get better. For example, with like Pillbush, even though I actually really like Pillbush, she's probably my top 3 favorites, but like in 3 games of playing Pillbush, I was like, yep, I've peaked. Like that.
Yeah.
I'm as good as I'll get with Pillbush, because you can't really, maybe a bit of movement related stuff you can get a bit better at, but like you just shoot grenades at people as much as possible. That's her whole play style.
Yeah.
And there's also nothing wrong with that. I think it's good to have, easier hunters to get the hang of, but I do enjoy when there's a character that I know, like it was a bit like that with Scorer for me when she first launched way back in the day, where she's very hard to get the hang of early because she's so low in health and stuff, but when you do get the hang of them, you can become like the best on your team, because the other team don't know how to deal with a good, Scorer or a good Glicken. I guess Scorer now, not so much, but I really enjoy that sort of the skill gap element to it. I think that's important in games like this, and there's enough easy hunters to play that I think you can add some in there that are a bit more difficult to use, but also have a bit of a higher ceiling, I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I haven't played Glicken an awful lot this last week and a half or two, but like was playing a bit more consistently. I started to like feel myself getting better. I was unlocking a couple like early mods for him, and I was like, yeah, okay, this works now. Because like at a base, I was like, he's fine, but I added a couple damage mods to him, and he just played so much better. I was like, yeah, okay, this like I'm feeling a lot more comfortable now. It suits my playstyle better, and I mean, I think I'm very much the same in that those kind of aggressive glass cannon type characters were more my favorite. In Battlefront 2, Darth Maul was my favorite character to play, and he's obviously very quick, very agile, a bit Reeve-like, and he had a dash and a saber throw and stuff. So I get on with Reeve very well, because that translates quite nicely into this game. But then like Glicken came out, and I've been having a lot of fun with him. Definitely have a lot more to learn with that, especially because, you know, you can obviously turn invisible, go behind enemy lines and take out someone like Diago or Scorer quite easily if she doesn't run away, of course. But I feel like, you know, in talking about Scorer, there was obviously this whole issue the first 2 seasons or so where Scorer was like really OP, and like she's still very powerful. But the fact that you've got characters now who, you know, the last 2 seasons in a row, Nox was added, headshot in 1, gone, lovely. And then Glicken can now come from behind or from wherever and just like take her out fairly quickly as well, and quite easily if she's not like alert. So I feel like, you know, the last 2 hunters have kind of helped the meta a bit more. Obviously, you're not necessarily going to guarantee those 2 hunters being on your team, but if they are, they're like a perfect counter to Scorer, really. And yes, okay, mods in the game now, you can increase Scorer's health like a stupid amount, but you can also increase Nox damage so that she can still one-shot, so I don't really think it's a problem. And also, I don't think a crazy amount of people are going to be modding her too much. And, you know, it obviously depends on who you come up against, right? So it's going to be different for everyone. But the potential is there to counter her very nicely with the last 2 additions in the game, which I think is maybe why they've gone down this route, because of the way the meta was, without having to change the actual characters themselves. They've just actually added hunters who will help the situation better, which I don't actually mind that as a way of doing things. I do think we do now need to see another support character, given that we've only got 3 in the game. So I'm hoping Tuya will be in season 6, assuming she is, of course, a support. I would imagine so. But yeah, I mean, again, like Coruscant, Glicken's been a very like standout piece. The hunters always are, of course, but like you know, for the map perspective and hunter perspective, the team on this game have just always done a standout job, I think. And I'm just, I mean, to be able to get characters and maps consistently that are so good, like, for me, I don't really feel like there are a lot of games that do that. Like, some maps release and they're like, oh, like, they're okay, but I'm not really that fussed about playing it again. But like, I want to play Coruscant Underworld all the time, and I want to play Glicken all the time when I'm not going for challenges or completing events and things. So I agree. It's pretty rare for when you think about it. Like, for most shooters, it's most maps they add and stuff. It's like you get a bad one every now and then, sort of thing. Especially with like Call of Duty and stuff these days. Like, I honestly think every map is not good. Like, I couldn't tell you the last COD where they add heaps of maps and I'm like, oh, these are all elite. And it's, so far we are yet to, the exception for me is probably Vespara Row, and it's weird because that one didn't feel like it was a seasonal map just because we got it at launch. So it just kind of felt like it was just, it wasn't like the season 1 map. It was just like in the game. It was just there,
And and like it's not even bad. It's just, I think compared to the rest, I don't enjoy it as much, but like, other than that, we haven't had a single miss when it comes to the maps or the hunters, which is so rare. And if they can keep that up, that's the thing. Like, I hope they haven't used all the good stuff now and then it just drops off. But like, if they keep it up, which it feels like they will, we could imagine the amount of content. If, like, you know, let's hope the game is supported for a long, long time. Imagine in a couple of years if it's still being supported in like 5 years, and the content is this good the whole time. It's going to be a massive catalog. Like, every map, by then there'd be like 30 freaking maps, and they'd all be elite, and like all the hunters would be so good. Like, it just that is such a big thing. I think it doesn't matter how good a game is when it's a live service. You need the live, like, once it launches, the live service is really all that matters in terms of keeping people engaged. And it doesn't matter if the game is the best game of all time. If you don't do good content after launch, people will drop off. There's been plenty of games I've played where I really, really liked it and it just didn't add much, and it just, you get bored pretty quickly. I don't know if that's just like a modern day thing for, you know, the
short attention
generations and stuff. I don't know if we just get bored of stuff quicker nowadays or what, because I feel like I used to be able to play games with no content and, you know, not really care. But I think it's also the fact that there's so many games now. Like, back 10, 15 years ago when I was playing, like, say, Battlefield, and to be fair, they had a lot of content, but there weren't 10 other shooters trying to steal me. It was just like COD every year, and I'd play the new COD for a bit and then I'd go back to Battlefield. Nowadays, it's like not just exact genres, but like there's like so many single player games, and there's so many free games, and there's just so much stuff going on, and even the games that are already out, Fortnite and Warzone and Apex and all those sorts of games, for example. There's just always something going on. So I think the like post-launch stuff nowadays is so much more important, just because
100%.
not only is our attention span no doubt shorter than it used to be, but
there's a lot of competition.
Yeah, there's just if this game has a bad season and I'm like, the new Hunter, season 6 Hunter sucks and the map's not that good, and then the rivals, the next season is really, really good, then I'm probably just going to go play that for a month instead. And it's like, that's the sort of thing, even though I don't necessarily want to, I want to play Hunters, but after a little bit you go, I don't know, that looks fun over there, I'm going to try that out. So I think they're doing a great job of that so far. There's never really been a season where I've felt bored and like, I'm going to wait till the next season. The exception probably being the last season. Obviously, I sort of said I've had a bit of a break, but I think the reason for that is more the PC stuff.
Yeah, sure.
I played it on PC, and now it is hard, honestly, to go back. Like, when I've been playing Season 5, it feels very rough now, even though the game's fine. It's just that playing it on
at 300 FPS
120 frames, it's just like so much, it just felt so much nicer that now it's hard to go back, I guess. So
yeah, totally get that.
That's not even an issue with the actual season. That's more just, I know how good it can feel, and now I almost want to not play it as much, just so that I'm experiencing it in the best way, really.
Yeah, 100%. And on that topic of post-launch content, one of the biggest pieces of post-launch content that the community's been asking for is obviously PvE game modes. My ideal PvE game mode would be something like, the 4 of you go into a fight against like a Rancor or some big creature. Maybe it changes depending on the map. What we obviously got was Grandstand, in that it's essentially just the standard game modes in the game against bots. And honestly, like, that's fine. I actually think the game needs that. It wasn't my first choice, but I'm actually really enjoying it quite a lot. It kind of reminds me of Battlefront 2's co-op mode, in that it was a fairly requested feature, so they put it in the game and people just absolutely loved it. Even like PvP players like myself actually really enjoyed co-op because of the experience that it brings. There are obviously 3 modes. There's easy, medium, and hard. Easy is like far too easy. Medium is like, easy enough to do solo queue. Like, there's no real issues, to be honest. Like, maybe it's a bit too easy for medium. Hard, however, if you're solo queuing's pretty impossible, but if you have a really good squad, is just a nice little challenge, really. And I think it's nice to have that because it is just a bit more chill. If you're getting absolutely spanked in ranked by top 100 players left, right, and centre, then it's actually nice to still have a challenge whilst actually being quite relaxing and fun. I really want to see PvE like continue to get supported, so I think what we've got now is great, but I also think it'd be good to have a more unique mode into that. Have you had a chance to play PvE much at all or not? Because obviously it is only limited time at the moment, not permanent.
I played a little bit, pretty much the first few games with Glicken. I literally just played it in that, I thought I'll see how how he feels, and just kind of get used to him. And it's fine. I'm not much of a PvE type of player unless it is something like really unique, like you said. And the ironic thing for me is that, like, I don't know if it's the same everywhere or if it's just in Australia because the play base is smaller or whatever. Most actual online matches I play, they have 3, 4, 5 bots in the minimum anyway. So it honestly doesn't feel that different to regular matches to me, just because it's like, which is probably one of my biggest issues with the game. It's like, there's a lot of games where I'll do really well, and then I'll look at the scoreboard at the end, and it has the little, you can tell by if you can add the player or not. And I'll see like one player on the other team that I can add, and the rest are bots, and that makes me go like, oh man, that's so annoying, because I just had a good game, and it's I thought I did well, and now it's just because there was bots, you know what I mean? Because you can't really, sometimes you can definitely tell in game when they're just full standing there doing nothing, but like, a lot of the time you can't really tell just because their usernames like randomly generated and stuff. So it doesn't feel too different to me, but like you said, I think it's a good thing. I think every shooter ever should have offline versions, or like in this instance co-op versions of the main modes and stuff. So I think that's a good place to start. Like you said, though, I want to see it if they're going to add that in. And I don't want this to come at the cost of like other content, but if they've got the time to do it, I'd love to see like an expansion of it. I want to see a freaking horde mode or something. Like imagine us playing and there's just, they make some sort of like I guess you could do it with current hunters, but it'd be cool to have like I don't know, like the Dead Knight sister, like zombies or something. Like
that would be
it's
really
just
cool.
a wave mode or something like that.
Yeah.
Where obviously they'd have to then make technically a new character to put in and like that for that to work. But that would be so much fun, and that would really change the dynamics quite a bit. Where it's not just I'm jumping on to play multiplayer. I might just jump on to play some freaking like zombies essentially, and you can have it a cool, have rewards for each certain level you get to. By the end, if you get to like level 25 in that, or round 25 or whatever, you unlock a bunch of like, whether crystals is maybe too much, but you can unlock cool stuff like that, whatever.
Sure,
just to make it like worth playing, because I guess if you're spending a bunch of time grinding it and there's no reward that you can use across multiplayer and like the PvE stuff, then people might not really play it that much. But I know for myself, if I really want to like rank up the new hunter or something, but maybe I'm a bit burnt out on ranked and I just don't really feel like playing like casual, but I know that I can level up Glicken by playing freaking zombies, I'm definitely going to do that. I would sit there for 3-4 hours straight just playing that shit. I love that sort of horde mode type stuff. I've always been a big zombies fan in COD and stuff. So something like that. Doesn't have to be exactly that, but just something, even like you've said before, having like the little, like almost a mini boss rush type mode where you fight a rank or you fight whatever.
Yeah.
Or even just like you're fighting Sentinel, but he's got like 10,000 health or something, like something fun like that.
Because they could do that as a Hollow Arcade or something like that, which obviously like Sprockets like made these games using these characters. So it's like, they could do insane health. I mean, like in the hard mode, like they actually have more health, and when they get low, they get like damage reduction and damage buffs. But like, so that's like part of the fun challenge. But it's like, give Sentinel like 10,000 health, and then there's maybe several waves of him, or there's like 3 Sentinels at once that all have 10,000 health.
Or even like his ultimate is like permanently on.
You could do
brings in
like
more like rocket troopers all the time, and like there'd be fun little things they could do like that. And I'd love to see them expand it. I don't think it's a priority. I'm not saying I don't want them to do that and then it takes away from the actual game. So maybe that's more the type of thing that every other season we get just a little addition to it. But
agree. I think that'd be really fun.
I also think, like you've said too, that it can't be limited time mode. I think that's such a weird decision to put PvE, which to me is a kind of core function, and put that as a limited time thing. Maybe they're just trying it out for now, and then like it'll come eventually. But we're still waiting on freaking Escort and all that stuff. So it makes me think like that it will like permanently stay as a limited time mode they just bring back every now and then. And to me, I can kind of live with it with like Hutball and all those things. That's whatever. I still want those permanent, but like that's understandable. It's a very unique mode. But this is straight up just the exact game itself, but in essentially offline mode, even though it's still online. But
100%.
I just think that should be made permanently.
No, I agree. And the thing is, like, just because like at the moment it's limited time because it only comes out when there's a particular event happening, but that shouldn't really matter. Like, they should just have it permanent and then run the events, because that will still encourage people to play PvE, but it also means that if people want to play it, they just can, and they don't. They're not going to get any events completed as a result. I mean, they can get some of them done, but just because there's no specific event doesn't mean it shouldn't be a thing. PvE, like you said, is such a core part of what multiplayer games should have these days. And I can't help but feel like Zynga are a little bit like scared to release like new game modes, because we've had I mean, like, Hutball was permanent in the game for such a long time. It's now been limited time several times since launch, and loads of people love it and want to see it permanent, but they're just nowhere to be seen. Escort, permanent in soft launch, only had like 2 maps though, so it's like if you add a couple more maps to the rotation, launch that as a permanent mode, people will eat that up so much. I really
guarantee that
see
would
it
become
back,
the most popular by a country mile.
It probably would.
There's
That's
no
the thing.
way
Like,
that wouldn't be the mode in this game if they release it. I actually really do not understand that decision making unless they're just saving it for some big bang. You know, we get a massive season with like more content than normal or something. But I also don't think we're in that spot. I think we need this game to keep ticking over and get that PC launch out there and get Escort out there and market the game and like do those things. I don't think we should be holding on to stuff because we're not. It's different when the game's going like extremely well. You look at a game like Rivals, they can afford to sort of hold some things back because everything's going so well right now that no need to rush it. Like, let's save this. We're going to drop a mode in season 2. Let's just save that for season 3 or 4 because everything's going really well. That's not really the case with this game. So it's like, it is confusing why they're so weird about the modes. Like, I don't know if it just feels like they're a bit stuck on this limited time thing, because I know that there is some sort of like benefit to that with like retention, because it makes you go, oh, well, this is only out now, so I've got to play it as much as I can. And I get that. But like, technically, like, I think that's one of those things that the stats are so skewed, because in that time period, yes, it would have more people, like more playtime overall, because people are rushing to play it. Whereas if it's in permanently, I guarantee like those modes would still have more people playing them for more time over the course of a year, because it's permanent, so people can play it whenever
100%.
they want.
No, I completely agree.
Also adds another avenue to add more content into. You can add more Hutball maps, you can add whatever Hutball skins. I've said actually we should do like a Hutball season where like every character gets their Hutball outfit as a skin.
Yeah, that'd be
We've
cool.
already got a few in there with like, you know, Groz has got his Hutball skin and stuff. Like,
there's quite a few already.
Stuff they can do there. Yeah, so
100%.
I don't know. That's one area that I'm slowly just getting a bit more frustrated with. Like, just Escort, just put that in the game. That is by far the best way to play this game, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
it suits the game perfectly. Like, it's just, the maps are really good. It's a bit longer. That's one of my issues with the game too. The games are like freaking 2 or 3 minutes long. Escort's 5, 6, 7 minutes long. I really enjoyed it. I just think people would eat it up, and I'm genuinely confused why that.
I agree. I mean, I'm kind of hoping what they do now with the PC delay is that they and we might as well touch upon when we think PC is going to release, since we're on the topic. But you know, if they can release PC in like season, I mean, I'm not too confident it will release in season 6 now. I think maybe they've changed their plans a bit more. But if they release it in season 7 at like the end of May, in time for the 1st year anniversary of the game, alongside a new hunter, and then like Escort as a permanent mode with the 2 original maps, but then like 2 to 3 like new maps that maybe they've already been working on the last few years, that would be like such a huge launch. Bring PvE as permanent as well. Yeah, that would be like absolutely insane. Like, for us as current players, that would be like an insane update for us. But then for new players on PC, like, there just is even more content to release. And I think if they did that would be amazing, because I really want to see Escort back. Like, I know from that like sort of first launch trailer back at the end of April last year, there was seemingly a Hoth and Mustafar like map combined, so maybe that's Escort map. So hopefully they do that. As to when I think PC will release, they will not do it mid-season, obviously. I don't feel like that needs explaining too much, but in short, like, they obviously wouldn't do that because anyone new to the game would then only have like 4 weeks to complete an arena pass, which is, I mean, to be honest, in this game, pretty easy to do, but not everyone's got time for that, so it's just not fair. And also, there would be like no sort of hype around it at all. Like, yes, okay, it's great, it's coming to the game, but like, it doesn't make any sense strategically. So it's obviously going to be when a new season starts. Could it be season 6? Maybe. That would be the end of March. It's entirely possible, but I'm not too confident myself. Season 7, you know, end of May, most likely. For 1 year anniversary of the game, they could go from like May 4th and like Beyond for the next couple of weeks on an absolute marketing spree. And yeah, that to me strategically makes far more sense than anything else. Like, yes, it sucks that it's essentially delayed by 4 months, but it could be huge if they get it right.
Yeah, I'm like really torn on the two, because I think I'd be shocked if it's beyond season 7. So I think surely has to be 6 or 7. And there's like one part of it I look at and go, okay, like we played the PC version and it felt like, not only just it felt good, it felt freaking amazing. It felt so good. There was little issues like the mouse stuff and stuff like that in terms of like sensitivity. They said they need to fix that and stuff like that. But like it felt exactly what I wanted. If that was the official launch, that playtest, I would not have been like, oh, it doesn't feel ready or it doesn't, whatever. It just felt awesome.
Yeah.
And the stuff that they said they're adding doesn't seem like it's an insane thing to fix. For example, changing mouse sensitivity, surely that is actually potential to be fixed in like days. Like that's a hot fix type thing in it. In most other games, if there's a sensitivity issue in like COD, they fix that in a day. So that sort of stuff shouldn't take them too long. With the field of view slider, that's a bit different. That you got to slightly work around like I guess performance related issues, even though the game shouldn't have performance issues because it's such a like there's no the requirements of that low that like surely it won't bring issues with it. But I do understand field of view slider is a bit of a bigger change, but because all the changes they mentioned aren't massive, it makes me think like surely it will be ready by season 6 because it already felt good. And I think the thing for me that is really that frustrated me the most about the delay is that it's launching into early access. It's not the official proper launch, even though to me it is. It's going to be on
it
PC
basically
playable.
is, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think we said that on the last episode. Like I don't personally, maybe I'm a boomer. I don't get early access stuff when it's like it is out. It's not. We're not playing the beta for a couple of months. It is the official game, and then they'll just do a proper launch later. But it's like it's out. I will be playing it whenever I choose to play it. That means it's out permanently.
Yeah, it feels a bit of like, to me, especially if it's like a free to play game that's already been released on other platforms for as long as it has. It feels a bit of a cop out in a way. It's like they can announce this early access launch, so they can do that. But then, and that's great. Like, I mean, but maybe it's genius, right? Because they can market this early access launch, and then, let's say it does pretty decent, and then at the end of this year, they go full launch in quotes for PC, and at that point they get to market it again, saying it's launching officially now, like outside of early access. Like, woohoo, we've done it. So maybe it's like marketing genius, but it also does from a game perspective. Like for me, it feels a bit of like a cop out, really. But
that's exactly how I see it. And the thing with the marketing stuff that confuses me is that it's what, like the way you described it does sound like it could be marketing genius, but like we've seen that they don't even know how to market their game in the first place as it is.
Yep.
So I don't even know if we'll get trailers and stuff for the early access launch or even the full launch. The way that they handle it, like it's just like it just, I don't know, the way that they handle things, I'm not too sure about that. But my concern with it is, what is the point of early access if it is not to add these features in the game? Like launch it today, put it on Steam right this exact second, and add that stuff in a month, in 2 months, in 3 months. That is literally the point of early access, because you are still adding to the game. And so you have that, like you said, kind of the cop out to say, okay, well, there's no field of view slider. We get that, but it's early access. So cut us some slack. We're still adding stuff.
It's on the way. Yeah. But I think that's also
and then I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like if they do it that way, then I'm like, okay, well, I wanted a field of view slider, but you're going to add it because it's early access. At least I can play now, like I'm fine with that. But the fact that they're essentially delaying in early access to put features into it, which is in itself the exact point of early access. Yeah. It's kind of like, it just doesn't make sense. That's kind of the frustration for me, is that the game could be out right now, and if there wasn't those things added, I don't think most people would care. Some people would, but then again, they have that excuse, well, it's early access, so just give us a couple months and we're going to add that stuff. And so, yeah, anyway, that's the part that makes me think, like, surely it is season 6. Surely I'll be annoyed, even though what you just said does make sense, and I'm like 50-50 between the two as to when it is. So even though logically I can also see season 7, I will be very annoyed if it's not season 6, because it's like, why are we baiting an extra 2 months to add features that we could just launch it and add them? If they're not ready till May, that's fine. Just put the game out. Like,
yeah,
let
I
people
think it's
play
one of
it.
those things.
It's already ready enough.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where they don't want to run the risk of people having to be like, oh, there's no FOV slider, or I can't change my mouse sensitivity in game, this, that, the other, because because these are sort of like really basic PC gaming features. It's almost like, well, if they're not in the game and loads of people cry about it, then they could be completely put off the game. And that's like, they're a bit scared to do that. They don't want to put people off the game too soon. So that could be like partly why. But also then, like, because this is their first PC game, you know, adding things like the ability to adjust mouse sensitivity and adding an FOV slider, like, that probably is going to take a little bit longer than it would normally take someone else. But also, yeah, like, they are going to have to do rigorous testing and things like that you know, also will probably take a little bit longer, which is like, yes, so I would imagine these features could probably get done within a couple of weeks, like, with ease, but then because of all of the testing and stuff that they've got to do, all of the approvals for it, like, you know, the FOV slider, for example, that could change like gameplay so much.
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
the thing. That's the one that I think
test
would
that.
throw a spanner in the works. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because they can't just like have the ability to change FOV, not test it or anything like that. Like, they need to test that. They need to test every single hunter, every single ability, and just see how that can change things. So I think that's ultimately the thing that's going to take the longest. But then there's also a case of like, yes, okay, we're delaying it so that we can do this. But then there's also the stuff that we don't know about, that because of the delay, they could be like, okay, well, we're also going to add in this stuff, but we're not going to tell them about it yet. So like, that's the angle I'm also like hoping they're taking. Like, if it just takes them a couple of months to do all this testing and stuff, to be honest, fair enough. Like, I'm not gonna cry about it. Like, I'm gonna be a bit like upset that it's not coming out sooner, because I'm dead keen to play on it again, because it was just so buttery smooth and beautiful. But, you know, it's just, for me at the moment, like, it is what it is. I know it's coming to PC on early access at some point, so yeah, fine. But yeah,
I think it's just for me more like the like you just said, the communication part of it. I'm one of the people who are all for delays, even though most people, every time something gets delayed, people like crack it, and of course we all get disappointed by that. Like, no one wants anything to be delayed, but I'm actually one of the people who generally thinks that's a good thing. Most times something gets delayed, it ends in a better product, and that for me is the main thing to an extent. If you delay something just continuously all the time, then it's a bit different. And I think maybe that's also something with this game, is it's had so many delays now that it's like, okay, when are we going to stop doing this? But like, I think it's more so the communication. So like what you just said about maybe they're going to add some extra stuff that they haven't told us about. Like, don't do that. Tell us what you're doing, because we're getting sick of waiting. Like, people are getting really annoyed by having to wait so long. And don't get me wrong, if they add extra features and stuff, that's great. I'm not saying like don't do that, but it's just either tell us, or my whole thing is just like, don't do, if they don't want to run the risk of what you said about like, these are pretty key features for PC, and they don't want people to try it for the first time and the sensitivity sucks and you can't really change it properly, so I'm not going to play this game. That's fair, but then probably don't do an early access at all. Because like, that is the point. Like, even if they fix this stuff, there's still other things they can add, and then people, you know, they might fix the sensitivity in the field of view slider, but PC players might go, oh, it doesn't have this or that feature, so I still don't like it. And then it's just like, at that point, what is the point of early access? Just wait till the proper launch. Yeah. Because I don't see what you said. I think for any other game about like the marketing side of it, I actually do agree with that. To have almost in the way that they did the soft launch, even you have your soft launch trailer, builds a bit of hype, some people can play it, it's exciting, then however long later there's the proper trailer. That's just 2 opportunities to market it. So I get that for most other games, but I don't see them doing that either. So like it actually, none of it adds up as to what the logic is to do early access, other than an excuse to just say, if there's issues, we can just say, oh, it's in early access.
So yeah,
and that's fine if they're gonna make the most of that. If they actually were adding things and there are issues and that is their excuse that it's still early access, I would actually be fine with that, because they are adding things, they are trying to improve the game.
Yeah.
But because it's not really going that way, and they're actually delaying these early access launch to add features, then I don't really have any. If they launch this and there's issues, I will have zero leniency towards that. I'm not going to go, oh well, it's early access, that's fine. No, you delayed the game for however long to fix this sort of stuff. Now your excuse is paper thin because you've delayed it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and if they delay it till season 7, that's an extra 2 months of less leniency that I've got. So it's like, that's I think that's the whole thing with this PC stuff, is that it's kind of just like all over the place. And I think doing early access is completely fine by me, even though I generally don't kind of get it that much. But like I said, there are benefits of having a bit of an excuse and multiple opportunities to market and stuff like that. And even using us to do the testing. So if they release the field of view slider and it has issues, we are also testing that along with them. They don't have to do all the QA testing themselves.
Yeah, true.
There are benefits to that. But then there's also the other side of it is like, if you're not going to make the most of that, just freaking get it ready. Delay it by a year. Just take your time with it and just launch it. But just tell us that. Don't drag it on, because that's where especially after 3 delays prior to the actual launch and then now this, I think that's where it becomes like, it just becomes tiring. And it's like each time they do little things like that, it just really, that's part of why I sort of took a break from the game, because it's just like, it's so frustrating when there's we have so much hype about stuff and then they don't really tell us, and then like the day before the playtest, they're just like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. Just little things like that where it's like, that really needs to improve, because that is one thing that could potentially end up killing the game, and no one wants that. Everyone who plays this game regularly just loves it. Like, it's got such a happy community, even with all the issues, and we don't want that, man. We want it to be happy and healthy and doing well, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. Like, it's on them to try and fix those little things, because I think we are trying everything we can do. Like, there's creators out there trying to talk about the game and make people excited for the game. There are players that are spending money on the game. We're all doing our part and enjoying the game, and it's now just unfortunately up to them. And that's something that makes me nervous, is they haven't really shown, not so much the actual devs. I think Boss Alien themselves have done a great job. The content we get is all really solid. I have no issue with them. It's more to do with Zynga, the way that they have just handled this whole thing. It just seems like they're a little bit incompetent, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I mean, I think we've always said this, really, haven't we? Like, we bring it up every single time about how like things need to improve, or we wish things were better, and this and that. And I think it's easy to keep on going on about it, because there's just never seems to be much sign of improvement.
That's the other issue, just to jump into, that like
change.
Yeah, that's the other thing that is annoying, is that like you and I both, I would say 90 to 95% of our thoughts on the game are positive, but because of all the constant little issues that they do, half of these podcasts we do are just complaining, which we don't want. I don't want to complain. I'm generally a very positive person. I much prefer focusing on the fun stuff. But like, even though both of us are really positive about the game, we mostly end up constantly bringing up the same issues again. And that's another thing that it's like, that kind of sucks, not only for us that we just end up defaulting to talking about that again, but all the people listening to this podcast, they're probably like, oh, would these guys shut up about the negative stuff? But it's like, it's not really our fault. What are we to talk? Like, if we're talking about the PC launch, like, we don't know when it's launching. We don't know what's going on. That's not our fault. We can only talk about what we talk about, and that's the precedent that they're setting by doing these little issues. And it's like, neither of us I want to get on here and just talk about the stuff we talked about at the start, like Coruscant and Glicken. That's all I want. I don't want to talk about negative stuff. It gets me annoyed, but like, well, that's just the way that they've handled it. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, I get that. Oh, well, whilst we're on this subject, I'm gonna take us to a new topic. and one that, well, there's been quite a bit of debate about it, and that's mods. Personally, I like the mods. I think they're better than... for me personally, I enjoy it more than the loadout system we had previously. I didn't actually really use the loadout system before, and I didn't really care to change my abilities and stuff like that. It was great idea, fine, but for me personally, I think actually changing the core stats of the hunters makes it far more interesting, because instead of having a couple of differences, it's every hunter could be so much more different than they were before. My Nox could be completely different to your Nox in every way, rather than just having a slightly different ability style. Now, obviously, the ability and the topic of discussion here really is, are mods pay to win? This has been a very heavily talked about subject. Because the reason for this, obviously, is because you can purchase chips via crystals, and you use chips to buy mods. Now, mods can also be unlocked via the Arena Pass. They can also be unlocked via events, especially the PvE events. We've had 2 of those events run now, and we've been able to unlock at least, I believe, 8 mods right now. So... yeah, chips can also be unlocked via these events, as well as the Arena Pass, progression chests, and also just progression in general from level 1 to 25. So there are quite a lot of ways to unlock mods and chips, but it's a bit of a slow burn. So the debate, obviously, is it pay to win, because you can pay real money, essentially, to unlock a gameplay modification. Personally, I don't think it's pay to win, because the definition of pay to win is to use real money to gain an unfair competitive advantage over other players. And I don't personally believe that's what's happening here. Yes, okay, some mods can be pretty damn powerful and make you, pretty good compared to someone else. But, some of these mods also have quite significant negatives to the mod as well. The Char one, for example, you get 3 extra shots, but there's minus 21 damage, right? Which means that you have to hit your shots, and even if you miss one, that's probably not going to land you a kill, depending on who you're fighting. And yeah, it also just takes a lot of skill and can very much depend on who you're fighting. If you've got a Reeve in front of a Char, then regardless of mods, Char should beat Reeve, let's be honest. You trap her, you lasso her, headshot, whatever, that's a 2-hit at base. If you're using mods, you're probably having to 3 to 4 hit Reeve, and that's, with a tighter spread, so you have to hit. So yeah, I understand people's concern regarding the pay to win side of it. I totally understand the argument for it, but personally, I don't see it that way. What do you think? Because I don't actually feel like we've maybe discussed this too much.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same as you. I don't think it's pay to win. Apologies if you can hear the dog barking in the background, by the way. She's been very annoying. I don't think it's pay to win. I think I really like the mods too. I think that they are better than the loadout system. Changing actual stats for the actual characters and stuff like that, I think that's a good thing. My only concern about the pay to win element of it is just the look of it. I don't think it is pay to win. It's just the look that, but it might be, some people might see it as that. And it's just, it just invites a bit of drama, I think is the only concern I have about it. I don't think it's pay to win. You can unlock them normally anyway. I think maybe just reducing the time it takes to unlock stuff. That's my only real issue with it, is just it does, if I do want to be a free-to-play player, right, and I'm fine spending money, so I no doubt will spend money on the mods and stuff, just because I always tend to spend money in games like this. But if I want to be free-to-play, man, it'd take a minute to unlock, all the mods, or at least even just a lot of mods. So that's really my only complain about it, is I think if they just slightly reduce the time it takes to get chips and stuff like that, I think that'd be beneficial to them. Because when a grind takes too long, I think it's not fun. I think if the grind takes a good amount of time to where it's it's like you feel like you're really making progress, but even if it still takes a while, that is where grinding away feels fun. For example, playing ranked, that feels fun. I can tangibly see the progress that I'm making each season.
Yeah.
And it feels in a pretty good spot where it's like, I know I've got to put a lot of time into ranked, but it's not like I've got to put 100 hours per season into it either. Like then I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. I've got too much other stuff to do. So yeah, I just think that's really my only concern about it. But I think the mods themselves, I think there's a lot of like really interesting ones that I've seen. I haven't really dabbled with them too much just yet because I haven't really been playing too much of season 5. Just with taking a bit of break, I've pretty much like played a bit with Glicken and on the new map and stuff, and haven't really played too much more than that. So I haven't really used too many, but I looked at essentially like all of them just quickly, and there was a lot that I was like, damn, that one could be really fun. And I know, especially for us too as creators, that's also very fun that now there's something I can do a whole series on the best ones to unlock, and I can, when I start doing my hunter guides, I can include that stuff in there. That to me is really exciting, and I think it just adds another layer to the game that everyone can sort of shape their own playstyle a bit more. If there's a character you really like but their health's a bit low or their damage isn't high enough or whatever, and that's the only concern you have, well, now you can change that. And
exactly.
It's got downsides. It means if you increase their damage, it might have less ammo, or they might have a slower reload time.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that's also the thing that to me kind of stops the pay to win element of it. As long as there's, for all of the, because not all of them have downsides, but I think the ones that are generally the higher tier ones, like the legendary ones and stuff, even those do have downsides. And that's a good thing for me, that if I can pay money to unlock this, but it's not really pay to win, because I'm actually paying money to be worse in one area.
Exactly. Like you're not actually getting a huge advantage. You're just changing how your hunter plays.
It's just paying for customization at the end of the day, customization of your playstyle. So I think the only thing there is they need to make sure that they're all very balanced. You can't let one slip, because then it will be like, oh, this exact mod is pay to win, and people, it just invites drama. That's my only concern. That was the same thing with Battlefront 2. I didn't even think that was pay to win personally. I never thought that was an issue. It's just, look at how that turned out. That was nearly killed the game. It got banned in multiple countries and stuff. That's my issue with it, is I don't want that. This game can't survive that. If that happens, we're done. Like, there's no... Battlefront had such a big name, and it's backed by EA. To be fair, Zynga's still massive as well, but like EA is kind of on a different level when it comes to like that type of big AAA game. Even that game nearly didn't make it out of that. We're pretty lucky to have the turnaround that it did. Let alone, it honestly could have got cancelled like in the first few months. There was that bad, and that's the only concern I have about this stuff. Is just, I remember even messaging you when season 5 dropped and was like, oh, I just saw that they're like, you can pay for them, because I didn't know that straight away. And it's just little things like that where it invites the thought process of, oh, this could be really bad. This could be really bad for the game. It was the same with the vaults. They're not obviously pay to win because it's just cosmetics, but it's like, cause they're so expensive.
And
it just like invites. Gambling. It's technically gambling and loot box stuff. For me, I don't have an issue with it. I actually do not care. I've done a few of the vaults. I did the Nox one and luckily got the legendary skin from that pretty quick. But like, I don't. I get a bit like scared about that stuff. Not even for me. I don't care. I don't care if a game. Look at all the mobile games that are pay to win, and I don't really care. It doesn't actually matter that much as long as it's not like some ultra competitive game and stuff. But when it's say like Candy Crush, and you can pay money to get your turns faster or whatever. I haven't played that game in like 10 years, but whatever you can buy extra playtime or whatever. Like I don't really care about all that stuff, but it's more the public perception of it that I know that there are a lot of people that do care. And that's the only concern I have. But I think the mod stuff is fine. I just think maybe tweak it a little bit. We earn chips a bit faster, and that's
I think that's the main thing.
Really.
Like if we can earn chips a bit quicker, that would be nice. Because I mean, I think with Battlefront 2, the main issue with that was like, yes, it was like a bit pay to win, but also it was more the gambling side of it. Like you weren't guaranteed, you had to keep on paying to unlock these chests to then potentially get a good mod or the mod that you wanted, sort of thing. And I think that's where it was why it was mostly as bad as it was because it was a gamble. And that's why, like, when the arena vaults came out, I was scared, because it's, you know, a gambling thing, and also like they're priced like crazy high. But it's like, you know, for me, it's one of those things. I wasn't a fan of it at the start because of that public perception that it can have, but also I just didn't want to spend, you know, I don't want to have to spend £250 to unlock all these awesome skins. Like, it just kind of alienates some people. Like, yes, okay, great, you get a free spin at the start, but maybe just chuck in like a free spin in the arena pass or in an event as well. Like, try and like, because firstly, that's just really nice for players who can't afford to spend on them, but also it might encourage people to spend on it further. So it's just, you know, like, there's benefits in many ways there. But like, now it's kind of a point where, like, I've gotten used to the arena vaults, you know. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm not a big fan of them too much, but I love the content that gets put in there sometimes. So like, this season, that Star Destroyer J3 skin, I am a huge fan of it, and I'm trying to get that skin. I got his weapon skin on my free spin, so now I'm like, oh, I really want the actual skin. So like, I am like slowly grinding away at quests, getting crystals, and like, you know, working my way up to it. And, you know, if I have to spend some money on crystals towards the end of the season to get it, then, you know, I may well do that. But I will just wait and see what the situation's like when we get there. So I don't mind them too much now, but yeah, I am just mostly worried about this pay-to-win perception that it could have, especially when it drops on PC as well. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, 100%.
But, you know, like, I mean, the thing is, I made a video being like, no, it's not pay-to-win, but, like, not everyone's obviously going to see that. So, like, there's only so much, like, I can do. If I see people say, like, oh, it's pay to win, they can't do this and this, that, the other, then, like, I will say, like, look, it's really not. And, like, you know, maybe when it releases on PC, I'll feel the need to make another video on it. But yeah, obviously there's only so much, like, we can do about it. But
that's the only thing I have with it, is just the potential for disaster. I think they're sort of playing with fire, and so far it's fine. They've not done anything that makes me go, oh, you're pushing it. Like, it's fine, but it's just that all it takes is like one, I don't know, like a big YouTuber, let's just say like Elliot or Bombastic, for example, who haven't really played much Hunters. It launches on PC, they're excited. I know Elliot was saying he was, you know, keen to see it on PC and stuff. All it takes is him just seeing that, and if he thinks it's pay to win, which I don't think it is, but that's just his opinion, and if he thinks that and makes a video, or he's on a live stream and he's got thousands of people watching him, and they all see that at the same time, and he's saying, oh damn, that's pay to win, that's else, like immediately it just starts the snowball, and then those people go and someone brings it up on Twitter, someone says like, oh, there's new games launched on PC, and they will be in the comments, oh, it's pay to win, I saw someone streaming it and it's pay to win. Like, that's how those things start, and they spread like wildfire when that happens. All it takes is one big creator or whatever, even just like an article, like IGN posts something, because they've done, like, they did a review when the game launched. Like, they could just, those sort of companies especially, they love drama. That's how they get their clicks. So the title of new PC game launches on Steam and it's pay to win, that I can see that happening on, like, already. And then bang, every time Hunters gets mentioned on Twitter, on Reddit, or anywhere, it's like, oh, that game's pay to win. Because remember what it was like with Battlefront? Even at the end of the game's launch, people were like, oh, remember that game's pay to win, why would you play that? It was never like they removed it immediately. Like, it never was pay to win, but it had that perception the whole time. And to a lot of people, that alienates the game, and they will never ever touch it out of just hatred for that sort of stuff, which is fair. That's if you think that it is that's not even that person's fault. They've been told it's pay to win, so they're gonna go, no, I don't want to play that. So it's like, that's my only concern. Especially, I think it's fine on mobile, because I don't know what it is about mobile games, but they seem to pay to win is completely fine in them for some reason. But on PC, I've seen PC players like review bombing God of War and Spider-Man, two games that are in my top 10 of all time, because you had to sign into PlayStation Network to play a free account. You don't even have to do it. You just sign up, and that's it. And they've review bombed those games. Like, PC players are absurd when it comes to that stuff. So like, it's just those little things where I kind of want to. I almost wish I could just go to the offices and just get them all in a huddle and say, "All right, guys, let's chill out with this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's not do any more paid elements for a bit. We've got the skins, battle passes, all that. Let's just not do that for a bit because I'm scared you're gonna keep pushing it. And then there's going to be one that goes, I don't know what it would be, that add some new thing and it's genuinely like bordering pay to win, and then it just, I don't know, it just got the potential to really ruin things. Which
that's the thing. I mean, like, we're at a stage now where it's like I don't actually feel like there's any more they can add in terms of like for paid elements, because and if they do, that's when it starts to get a bit ridiculous. Like, I don't mind having 3 currencies in the game, in, you know, free to earn credits, and you can buy some skins and like avatars with it. That's nice to have. I still wish there was more to be able to unlock with them, but you unlock them at an okay rate. I still wish you'd be able to unlock, you get credits from matches, but you don't anymore. That would be nice. Crystals, like, you can unlock quite a lot of crystals, to be fair, for free, but you know, you can also pay for them if you want to. You can buy loads of cool stuff with them, you know. And then chips introduced, like, I don't mind that too much, but now, like, any more, then it gets a little bit silly, I think, and they just don't need to go down that route. Like, just, yeah, I think if they can just chill out here for now, then they'll be fine. Like, you know, keep adding mods every season, because those mods can change hunters even further. My fear is that maybe they'll go and, because at the moment they're all like, oh, you know, Kubaz health 1. So it's like, well, how are they going to do this? Are they going to be making it so you can upgrade a mod so that it becomes Kubaz Health 2? Or is this a case of they'll have Kubaz Health 2, and instead of giving you just plus 20 health, it gives you plus 15 health and like plus, you know, 5% movement speed or something. Maybe that's Kubaz Health 2. I don't know. But yeah, it's not very clear at the moment, really. But like there's a lot that I'm definitely going to be a bit concerned with PC, but I'm kind of hoping that the game itself is just so good for people that just, like, you know, covers the rest of it, really. But yeah, we shall see.
I just think that they're just, as long as they don't push, my main concern about it, because I think these two things are fine, the vaults and the mods, they're fine how it is. If they add more stuff in the future or whatever, that's all good by me. It's because they added the vaults and we're a bit like, don't know about that. It's grown on us now. It's fine. I personally don't love it. I'm not going to buy every vault and stuff because it's like, that's a lot of money, but I'm fine. Then they went and added another avenue for making money, and it's like, okay, this one's also fine, but at what point are we they're just gonna keep adding ways to make money?
Yeah.
And then it becomes like not a game, it is a financial app that we're using. Like, they're just trying to milk us for money. Make the game fun and give us awesome skins and all that stuff, and the money will come. If you keep trying to add new ways to make money, we're going to eventually get to the point where it's like a freaking subscription model where
at that
it's
point,
like World of Warcraft, where it's like you got to pay $10 a month to play it. Like, then it's, you know, then we're getting into the territory where you'll just kill your own game and you'll make no money. So they need
that's the thing.
That's my only concern, is just stop adding. These things are fine, but if the next one might be fine too. There might be 3 new ways for them to make money. But the next one might not be fine, and it might literally kill the game. And that's
the thing.
That's what I mean when I say they're playing with fire, because it's like it's worked in your favor now. This is all fine. It's all good. That third one, or the fourth one, or the fifth one might just delete the game from existence, because people will just go, nah, that's enough.
That's the thing. I mean, it gets to a point where enough is enough, and also, like, you could just completely alienate your entire player base to the point where they're just like, okay, I'm out, see you later, because it doesn't need to happen. I think, I mean,
and also just people might stop spending money. The vaults are expensive. I'm not, like, they're actually doing themselves a disservice by them being so expensive. I'm not spending that money.
Yeah.
Like, that's a waste of time. And kind of the same with the mods. Like, it's so expensive to get all of them and stuff. I'm not doing that. If they were like half the price, I'd honestly borderline consider just buying just splash on the game and just buy every mod, be able to make so much content with it. But because they're so expensive, I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I'm not
no,
spending money on
exactly.
that
Like,
stuff.
I'm not spending £20 just to unlock one legendary mod for
Yeah.
one hunter. Like, nah.
Yeah.
When there's 9 mods per hunters and
Yeah.
there's 17 hunters currently, yeah, okay, not all of them. You know, there's 3 rare, 3 epic, 3 legendary, but it's like the sum total for one hunter. I don't actually have the number, but it probably is a good like over £100 per hunter if you want to unlock every single mod.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite a lot, and I think, you know, even with the vaults, like if they halved the price of the vaults, then you'd probably find a lot more people willing to spend on them. I mean, maybe that would be a bit detrimental in terms of income, but it's just one of those things, like lower price, higher volume of sales. Like they've done that with the arena pass this season. It's like £3 cheaper. Like it's 30% cheaper than it has been every other season. Like if they keep that up, if they actually keep it now at £7 rather than 10, you probably will find that a lot more people will buy it. So
when you think about it, if you cut something in half by 50%, but it's likely to get double the amount or more of people buying it, then you're actually making more money from it.
Yeah, no,
so
exactly.
Like the vaults, if you literally cut them in half, I do think there would be twice as many people that would be willing to buy them. Like, so it's, yeah, I don't know where to be fair, they are much more like well versed than us when it comes to Zynga. They know how to monetize the hell out of games. So I assume that they know what they're doing on that stuff. But it's also, yeah, I also do think that they know how to do that with mobile. I don't think they know it with PC, and potentially in the future if they bring it to like PS5 and stuff. They know they've got all their analytics around the mobile gamers and stuff, because mobile gamers spend an absurd amount of money. Yeah. But it's not quite the same on other platforms. So that's where it's like, yeah, they might feel really confident in their prices right now. But even we've seen, like you said, with the battle pass or the arena pass, like they have lowered that price. So is that because they weren't making many sales and they're thinking, oh, maybe what if we make them cheaper and more people might get it? So they're clearly toying around with some stuff.
Yeah.
And that makes me sort of think, okay, maybe they're not making as much of it as they want. And I do think that is almost exclusively to do with the price of things. Because I know for myself, I would buy a lot more stuff in the game if it was a lot cheaper. And not just double. I'd just feel a lot more comfortable spending more because I'm getting a lot more for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like anyway, that's one side of the game. I don't really care that much about it. I don't care how much money they make as long as they're making enough to support the game. I don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just
care
want
if
this
they
game to
make
be supported
$1 profit
time.
or $1 billion. It does not bother me whatsoever. They're all rich billionaires anyway. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. As long as hunters can stay around for several years, I'm happy.
It's the only monetary element I care about, is that they're making enough to for it to be worth it.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think as always that went off on a bit of a tangent.
Yes, typical of us. We would never go on.
Sorry.
Surely.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the arena after show if there was an after show for the after show. So, yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I don't actually know when the next one will be. To be fair, it might be towards the end of season 5. It might be post season 6. We will just have to wait and see. But yeah, Sammy, thank you very much once again for chatting with me for so long on this beautiful game. I hope I didn't make you too angry, and
it's probably me bringing all that stuff, like all the PC stuff. That's probably been brewing in me for a minute. It's a bit of therapy, so
yeah, fair
probably
enough.
the other way around.
You know where to find me if you ever need it. So yeah. Anyway, that is it from us today, guys. See you all out there in the arena. Thank you for watching, and may the force be with you always.